And now, through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future, Transformers Slag Podcast.
I'm just playing this time. How we all doing this Saturday night? It's the Transformers Slag Podcast Saturday Night live stream main event. My name's Proto Man. This is the face that runs this place. This is the voice you hear Monday to Friday. We're going to chill tonight. We're going to talk some Transformers. It's yet again another Saturday night of just chilling, relaxing, talking about the news we had this week, speculating what's going to be happening next week, because next week is going to be a big one. Don't want to spoil some stuff, but yours truly might be a little bit involved too. Yeah, let's talk Transformers. We'll take some super chats from the fans. Nice to see some of the Patreon people and YouTube members here today. Got T-Formers 2002 from Patreon. We got JR Mina, Rodimus Power, Michael Koo, Princeton Phalanx 59, Abraham. Who else is here? Let me just scroll up a little bit, make sure. Mr. Bumblebot. Got a few peeps already. So then, I'm going to jump into the news. We're going to cover some things here and there that we've discussed this week and little updates here and there. You could super chat your opinions of said news if you want, and we will let the world know what you think. We have some stuff to open up in the mail, just a few little things here and there, and just a little other few things I kind of want to show off and talk about. Aaron Archer did a really good live stream yesterday that if you get a chance to definitely check it out, I'll talk about it later in the segment too. A lot of cool stuff if you were a fan of Transformers during those early 2000s era. And it looks like we already got a super chat off the gate from Joseph Ritter. Flying from Atlanta to Tucson now. Question, is Calgary the Texas of Canada, a.k.a. stuck in time, cowboy times? Calgary is indeed the Texas of Canada. If you're going to see cowboys and steers, and, you know, Calgary's known for the Great Calgary Stampede, cowboy boots. It literally is the Texas of Canada. Just doesn't have the death penalty. I think that's about it. And a lot less guns. So a cowboy without its guns, Texas without its guns, I don't know. How much can it be, really? But I would have to say yes. I always like to say that Toronto is like Chicago, Montreal is like New York, and Vancouver is probably the closest you could get to LA, but even then, LA is such a different animal from Vancouver, but that's probably about as close as it gets. Definitely weather, I would say, and then the rest of Canada doesn't matter. No offense to the rest of my Canadians, but what is a Winnipeg in the United States? You know? Anyways, let's talk Transformers. Let's talk some cool stuff we got this week and everything like that. And we will take some questions from the fans like the lovely Joseph Ritter here today. So first piece of news that we're going to cover, and it's that we got some brand new stock control art that surfaced via two little Rise of the Beast children's books that surfaced online. Now these are stuff that has always existed in the Transformers movie verse, if you will. There's always been these little books and stuff that kind of recap the movies, but obviously done in a more simplistic style. And these things historically have always come out 2 to 3 months before the movie comes out. So you could also kind of get little spoilers out of them. I know that when Dark of the Moon's version of these came out, that's when the news broke of Sentinel Prime being a traitor and everything. And it was just like, oh my goodness. Like, we learned about that so early because it was said in the books. Obviously, it wasn't shown as graphically, but it's like Sentinel Prime joins the Decepticons. And it's like, oh, okay. So chances are we're probably going to have something similar too, where if you're going to want to avoid any spoilers in relation to Rise of the Beast and any plot twists, Anyone that's going to be talking about these books or purchasing them probably going to want to steer clear of them. Obviously, it's not 100% like the original script. I mean, the Revenge of the Fallen one is pretty funny how the Fallen is like thrown into like a transwarp star harvester sun or something. Like they did a completely much more PG ending to that one instead of gimme your face. But this is out there, and the big thing to take away from it more than anything else is, of course, the art on it, and us getting yet again another good look at our Rise of the Beast Terracon Scourge. Now we had that like one scene from the trailer, we have the toy in front of us that we've seen from every corner, and now we have this little piece of stock art image here. So yeah, looks pretty good. Again, I dig his design. You know, it's an evil Unicronian kind of dude. You know, so he's going to have a very evil looking kind of design. It's something that in a lot of ways, and I forget who I saw said this, but I totally agree with them. If this would have been the Fallen's design, like if this is what the Fallen would have looked like with this like Decepticon, Terracon kind of shaped head and everything, and kind of looking like a Prime, I would have been totally behind that. Like he's a very he makes a lot of sense from a design perspective. So I like him. I want to see what more of this movie gives us. And yeah, I'm excited about Rise of the Beast. I don't know if it's going to be a good movie or not. I don't know if the toys are going to be awesome or not from what we've seen, but I'm excited. I'm very curious. Again, as a big Beast Wars mark my whole life, even though I was a G1 kid growing up, this could really be a make or break new generation and new era for the Transformer movies after a near 4 years of dormancy of proper media representing our brand on a global scale. So this book comes out May 16th. Again, easily a good 2 months before the movie comes out. So if you want to be spoiled, at least in some shape or fashion, it'll be out there, probably your bookstores, if those still exist, Walmarts, Targets, and your odd Toys R Us children's section. Stay tuned for that. The big news today with Rise of the Beast, of course, is a cheetah. No, a Cheetor. So these images first popped up on Amazon Australia in the middle of the night, and then the following morning on the Transformer Tuesday of this week, we finally got to see our Studio Series 98 Rise of the Beast Voyager class Cheetor. And I mean, he looks good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, it's what I would expect of a movie design, a more kind of simplistic American mecha kind of style. You could still see different aspects of different versions of Cheetor throughout the years. I've seen so many different kit bashes of this mold. So many different kit bashes online, so many different repaints by fans, and we're seeing Transmetal, we're in there, we're seeing a little bit of Beast Machines, we're seeing a little bit of Transmetal too. It's a nice marriage of all those little designs here and there, and I like it. I like it. To me, when you're talking different continuities, I like that it's channeling a little bit of the original character, but still being its own thing. That's the one thing I was never a fan of with a lot of this kind of evergreen design. Like I liked Cyberverse as a series, but when you have characters that just look like G1 Prime, just look like, G1 Ratchet, or it's just there's no originality. It's just a slight change in the design. And that's why a lot of people appreciated stuff like Transformers Animated or stuff like even the Unicron trilogy, where they took those key characters and kind of gave a different spin on them. And then what's good about that is when you do a different spin on them, it's a lot easier years later to homage them. Because if you homage, you know, Cyberverse Optimus Prime in a very legacy kind of style, like we're seeing with, let's say, the Transformer Prime stuff with Legacy, it's just going to look like a G1 Prime. Heck, you wouldn't even know the difference. But, look at RC in Prime. Look at RC in Energon. Look at RC in Generation 1. Each one of those have a distinct style and a distinct look. And same thing even with this movie here. And it's the same thing. I appreciate what they're doing with Cheetor and making it different. I think it was a smart move too, because when we get to the mainline stuff and you compare, so Rise of the Beast mainline is going to give us, well, what if the movie style was slavishly loyal to the source material? while the movie itself does something different. I think that's a very smart move because it gets the hardcore fans that want screen accurate stuff, they're going to buy the Studio Series stuff. But then if they also really like Beast Wars, they're probably going to also purchase this. And it's really smart because it kind of makes people buy two separate figures of the same character. Because think about it. Let's say the mainline version of Cheetor was the one on the left, but just simplified for the price point and budget. Most people would skip out on this. But now even a guy like me who's a big Beast Wars mark is going to go, ooh, maybe I want both of these now. So Hasbro just made two sales. So I understand what they're doing here. It's kind of a smart move from a business standpoint. Joseph Ritter with the super chat talking about Scourge, it looks like. Just received Tarn. Very great figure. Oh, and myself and Symbiote are from Tucson, pronounced I don't know. Or Tucson, aka beautiful Arizona. Okay. I've never been there. I've been to like so many places in the United States just because of conventions, if anything. I've practically been to almost every state in the United States. But not there. Not there. If I can't pronounce it, it's probably because I haven't been there yet. But Tucson. Okay, Tucson, Arizona. That's probably the best way to say it. Tucson. Now I know. We all learned something today. I mean, just try to get an American to say Saskatchewan when they see that one. Lord knows there's some Canadians that can't even spell Saskatchewan. So I don't blame him. Anyways, that's pretty cool that you got Tarn. He looks really good. I can't wait to pick him up when I see him in stores. I haven't seen him yet. It's since Christmas has ended, the stocks on the shelving of Walmarts locally here has been pretty barren. It's been pretty crazy. I don't know if maybe it's just me. I mean, I have a very small example to pull from because I've only been to a few Walmarts recently, but I mean, it's been pretty light right now. I guess they're just waiting to restock, maybe in a February, March kind of scenario. And get that Valentine's Day money and everything. We'll see. We will see. But anyways, thanks for the super chat, Joseph. But yeah, Cheetor's cool. I dig it. I dig it. I mean, I know there's some people that are hating on it, but chances are they probably don't like anything Transformers. But that's a whole other story. Other news that we had that just also dropped in our lap unexpectedly overnight and then just mysteriously disappeared was the mention of a legacy Voyager class Twincast and a Voyager class Metalhawk. Now we had these listings, so we knew about these coming at some point. We knew about these listings way back in March of last year and then July afterwards for the Metalhawk. So there's no surprise that these characters are coming because we had those listings a while back. But we didn't realize just how quick we were going to get them. But when I revisited the news, and if you could go back and watch the individual segments about these guys that I did just yesterday, um, you'll notice that like when I put the timeline out there, it's like when we learned about Twincast, he was with a whole bunch of other listings of product that we have now today, like literally today. Stuff like the Skull Grin and a few others and the G-Axis. So it's something that when we learned about it way back in March of 2022, he never showed up, but all the other stuff did. And it's the same thing with Metalhawk. When we learned about Metalhawk in July of 2022, they talked about a blue Rumble Studio Series figure. Ooh, but now we've seen that, but we haven't seen the Metalhawk. So all of this is going to probably be showing up potentially this Tuesday because BBTS put up pre-orders, realized that they kind of messed up there, and quickly took them down. But some people supposedly got those pre-orders in and they're still locked in. So it's legit. And the release date is February, which kind of adds up because the Transformers live stream, which I might as well just pull up the slide right now to remind people, the Hasbro Pulse fan stream for Transformers will be January 31st at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's going to be a lot of big stuff that's going to be revealed there. I can't really say what. There's actually going to be a little bit of a something the week afterwards, which is going to involve this guy, but I don't want to say much right now. I have an NDA, so I'm going to stick with that, but you will see. Next week, some stuff here and there afterwards. So be sure to tune in for that. The Hasbro Pulse fan stream for Transformers January 31st at 11 a.m. A lot of stuff will be revealed, not just legacy stuff. Let's just put it that way. That's all I'm going to say. But a lot of cool stuff. Be sure to check it out. And the second the live stream ends on January 31st, we will put together a segment updating everything with all the information and what's going on in there, along with all the marketers that will be present for this big one. So be sure to stay tuned for that, because that's going to be hype. And that's it more or less for the news this week. But we have some other cool stuff we're going to take care of that we're going to talk about today. We'll take some super chats and some green name questions from the fans. So be sure to submit those, and we'll do those today. And yeah, but we're going to do some sponsors. We'll talk about our sponsors, and then we'll jump into some cool stuff because I got some stuff in the mail in the P.O. box. We got the very last of the Super 7 stuff we got to open up, and it's hopefully, I hope, the best one. We got some cool stuff that I also want to show you guys off because I watched Aaron Archer's live stream and made me pull some stuff out from the Proto Man archive to kind of show off too and go, hey, these cool things. But first, let's do our sponsors, and we'll start with the boys in plush of Symbiote Studios. And again, Symbiote Studios, I'm actually wearing their cool sweater today, the Cat Bravo one. And of course, their Cat Bravo Catnip Convoy, as I like to call it, t-shirt and the Optimus pin. Again, Symbiote Studios, your plush pin and t-shirts of Transformers, official, not bootleg, not third party, not some guy on a printing press putting out some weird stuff. These are the official Transformer t-shirts and plush and pins that you could get. Be sure to check them out at symbiotestudios.com, as well as their brand new stock that they've put out of Optimus, Bumblebee, Grimlock, and Soundwave. If you missed out before and they sold out, the second wave of them are now out with new coloring and new show accurate eyes and everything like that. So be sure to get your plush and, of course, the rest of it and all the others which aren't sold out. Get yourself a Hound. Get yourself a Shockwave. You gotta get yourself a Shockwave. That's the man right there. Yeah, love me a Shockwave. Get yourself a Shockwave. Get yourself one of the Seeker trios, a Wheeljack, or even a Catnip Bravo. Get yourself a Catnip Bravo, Catnip Convoy, all the way there on the left from Wave 4, and more coming in 2023. Be sure to check those out. Be sure to check those out. They're going to be all really awesome. This is the ongoing plush initiative, the longest running Transformer plush line in the world. We've had Transformer plush in the past, but it was one and done. Here's a Softimus, gone. Here's a Slumblebee, gone. Oh, what's it? Card Carlton's going to do a little plush series, gone, canceled after one wave. This has been selling well, selling amazing, selling out, and they're trying to meet the demands of the fans. So definitely check it out, yo. Check it out. And again, if you're into other Hasbro brands, they do the other Hasbro brands. Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, and Magic the Gathering, Mujik the Gathering. So be sure to pick up the pins, the plush, and the t-shirts, and all of that stuff too. symbiotestudios.com. Thank you for sponsoring us, like you always do. Go check them out, symbiotestudios.com. Next up, also, let's talk about And Deceits. You can barely see, actually, the lighting is really bright today. And Deceits' little logo there, but we have the And Deceits transforming how to play with your Transformer seats. And Deceits hooked us up with a nice comfy seat after Proto Man breaking his back for years on some Walmart garbage that he would buy. I would literally buy a seat from Walmart and it would break down after like a year and a half. And I continued doing that process forever. Even my neighbor would always point out, oh, there's another broken seat in front of the house waiting for the garbage to be picked up. And now I got this one. And this one is some high quality stuff. So again, thank you, And Deceits, for sending me a seat. And be sure to check out their stuff. This is their 2022 collection. There will be a 2023 collection coming up soon this summer. So be sure to stay tuned for that with new characters, new products, new everything like that. But if you're interested in getting an Optimus Prime, a Bumblebee, or a Megatron, use promo code ProtoMan and get 15% off your first order of these extremely comfy seats. But then what do I know? I mean, it's the first time I've ever had a comfy gaming seat. So But I like it. I think they do good stuff. And Deceits, thank you again for sponsoring everything. And last but not least, can't forget Aaron Archer. So Aaron Archer's next episode is up right now. The Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Be sure to check out their channel. Again, the man who created almost everything Transformers between 2000 and 2014. So we talk about trans tech, all the secrets behind the scenes, all the cool stuff going on there, everything that is trans tech. Be sure to check that out. We have a whole bunch of behind the scenes images, sketches, all kinds of cool stuff. Why it happened, what made sense of it, why it never showed up, what could potentially happen with it in the future in some shape or form. Pretty cool stuff. And of course, get Aaron's book. Aaron's book, The Art of Transforming Robots, Volume 1, Black and White Edition, if you have not picked it up. Aaron will not be at TFCon LA in the next couple of months, so don't expect to see him there to pick it up. So your best way to pick up this book will either be from his website right here, archermonster.com/shop. Actually, when Aaron was doing his live stream, he's like, "Oh, be sure to check out my website, aaronarcher.com." And I was yelling at the screen, "Aaron, that's not your website." It's archermonster.com/shop. Pick up the book, get it signed. He'll sign it for you for an extra $15. He'll even put in a custom sketch of your favorite Transformer character on the inside. Really good stuff. So if you're not able to make it to TFCon LA, which he won't be at TFCon LA, he'll be at TFCon Toronto, but that's in July. That's still quite a shot away from now. So yeah, you'll have to get it online in the meantime. But again, archermonster.com/shop. He did correct himself. Okay, good. Because I was yelling at the screen. I was sitting in bed because I put it on my big screen in my bedroom and I was watching it and I was just like, God damn it, Aaron. He did good. He did good. I liked a lot of the stuff that he showed, and that's actually spawned some of the stuff that I brought today to show you guys was because he was showing a lot of really cool Armada stuff. And I heavily suggest after you guys are done today, go check out his segment because he brought a lot of really cool behind the scenes stuff. Some stuff that never got released, some prototype stuff, a lot of cool art stuff, and I really dig that. Like that stuff that one day we gotta do a con and we're gonna rent like a hall and we'll just have like all the stuff through history of the Unicron trilogy, like all the unreleased stuff would be really cool. But before we do that, we're going to open some stuff we got in the mail. We'll open up some other stuff too, and then we'll just go through that and we'll take some super chats from everybody here and just enjoy the rest of the evening. So, I probably have to be careful with this because it'll have his address on it. Yeah, it does. So, I got a package in the mail from two individuals that I'm quite familiar with, so I don't have to worry about it being some snarky material, although I did get trolled last time, so I might get trolled this time. But I was warned in advance that it's nothing too terrible and that there's a Patreon listener question in this also. No, I don't think it could be a Funko in this. I don't think it could be a Funko. It's hard to open these. Ugh. I'm gonna have to get an Exacto. These Canada Post envelopes are always pretty tough, these ones. So this comes from the Twins Corner. These are Cobra and Delta. They're two twins. They're literally two twins that are regulars at TFCon Toronto, and they sent me a little something something in the mail. Supposedly it was supposed to be for Christmas, but yeah, the holiday season, mail gets backed up and stuff. So go. See, they told me there was going to be a letter in there with a Patreon listener question, so I'll take that letter out. Although there's, okay, it looks like it's okay. Just want to make sure. All right. Oh, I hope I didn't show their address there. I apologize for that. Okay. That aside, so it looks like it's a letter with a stack of photos. So I like the first photo here. So here's the twins, by the way. And there's me with Aaron Archer. That was at TFCon Toronto here on best with the gloss. There they are. They're two twins wearing Maximal and Predacon t-shirts and hats, and there's me and Aaron Archer. Shows you how tall I am. That's a lot of things. A lot of people are like, when they meet me in real life, they're like, "Damn, Proto, you tall." I'm a tall mofo. What do you want to say? Um, 6'1", almost 6'2". I'm 6'1". I'm in between there. Some people Then we got, ooh, this is thick. I hope I don't have to read the whole thing here. This is a lot. Whoa, this is multiple pages. Okay. Oh, we got Clyde with the super chat. Clyde, ask a question too, my friend. You always give money. You never ask a question. Ask a question too, brother. Oh, it's not Funko pins. Thank goodness. Some people, please don't send the Funko Pops. Please, guys. They take space, and I haven't been able to run a convention in a while, so it's not like I could give it away or something. And I don't want to have to spend money on shipping to sell it. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, good. I was worried because I always worry about. I probably should have blocked it out, but you know what? I'll go back and I'll watch the live stream. If worst case, I could put a brick over it or something. That's a good thing with new YouTube. You can edit things out. So we have here, I'll read it out loud. What's up, Proto Man? Happy New Year from Ontario. We hope your holidays have been peaceful but busy as you visit your with friends and family during this special time of year. Both of us brothers have immensely enjoyed all your podcast segments and live videos every day for the past several years. We wanted to thank you for all the hard work and effort you put into your channel that without a doubt, you are the biggest Transformer podcast available. Technically, yes. We're the biggest in terms of subscribers and viewership. There's guys that have been around longer, and I love those guys. No throwing shade at them, but we are number one. Thank goodness. But we have a lot of good dedicated fans, and I think having Hasbro and the sponsors and everything being in our back pocket also helps a little bit with legitimacy. We wish to hit off 2023 with a very special way through your podcast, and hopefully just as special for you to be part of our celebration is one of the steps we are taking to be more involved with the Transformer community. Behold, the first time ever shown on the internet, our entire Transformer collection. So I'm going to assume, because I didn't look at the other photos, okay, they're all photos of your collection. That's a lot of photos. Oof. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that in a moment. Included in this letter are pictures of an entirety of our prized possessions. Our collection has grown quite a bit from its humble beginnings, with us mildly collecting from our own money beginning in 2006 up until 2012, from just being a handful of our first figures from the first trilogy of Michael Bay movies. Well, yeah, 2006, that's definitely beginning. Well, 2007 would be Michael Bay, but 2006 and 2007 were a lot of people started coming in. I noticed that especially with TFCon 2006, the interest started to spike in the attendance. BotCon, they were a little late. BotCon didn't have more people until 2008 and 9. I find like people were slow to realize about BotCon. Where are we at here? Michael Bay movies and Cybertron collection. Well, there's 2006 right there, the Cybertron stuff. Uh, to what you see in all the photos, from Beast Wars to Transmetals, Energon, Armada to animated, and a handful of characters hailing from the widespread Chug line. I'm not a fan of that term, Chug, because now there's so much other stuff that it relates to multiple highlights of third-party items ranging from Mastermind Creations, TFC, Make Toys, Fans Project, and many, many more. And to your credit, upon discovering you in 2018, our recent acquisition of planning War for Cybertron Legacy collections, properly budgeting, purchasing, and adding to our organized collections, all having been possible because of all your information and integral videos. Well, thank you for that. I mean, that's what I always preach. It's always about be smart with your money in this. This is a very expensive hobby. This is a very expensive hobby. I said this last stream. I partake in the video game world. I partake in the trading card world. I partake in the comic book world. I invest in all the little places. But Transformers is my biggest passion. Video games is a very close second place. But because I partake in all those worlds, I see how expensive all those worlds are. And the toy world, and more specifically Transformers, there is nothing more expensive. There really isn't. I mean, when you got guys like Mister over here and then Mister over there, they're outside of like Magic 30th, we don't got, and even Magic 30th, that was $1,000. Unicron after shipping and taxes and everything for a Canadian was over $1,000. So it's an expensive hobby. So I'm glad that you're paying attention to the finance stuff that I talk about. Where are we at here? Your honesty and transparency is also helpful to other members in this hobby to make smart decisions in the purchase powers. in such of your wonderful gifts. It's such a wonderful gift that we're not sure that we deserve it. Well, don't say that. Everyone deserves to have transparency and knowledge. The whole point of this podcast is to teach people. The one thing I hated about other podcasts, Transformer ones, and that I valued from non-Transformer podcasts that I would see in the wrestling world and the video game world, is that those podcasts educate people instead of just like opinionated. Opinions. Teach people. It's one thing to say you don't like this black repaint, but why was a black repaint made? What was the sense behind it? What is the gang molding? Why was that character chosen? Because it's a black repaint for the trademark and the, all these things that I love looking at forums now and people are parroting the knowledge that they got to learn from it. So I'm glad for that. And to say that you don't deserve it, that's not true. Everyone deserves to have knowledge, especially in the information age today. No one should be ignorant anymore when everything's at their fingertips. We are grateful for having someone like you out there who loves our hobby as much as we do and has the connections and power to make our collecting a little more easier. Keep it going and keep it awesome, Daniel, aka Proto Man. We hope the Slag podcast survives for many years to come. Oh, it's never going to end, brother. We started in 2009. We're going to keep going forever. Um, we both look forward to meeting up with you at next TFCon Toronto. Until then, see you on the next live stream. Your fans in arms, Christopher, aka Cobra, and David, aka Delta, the Twins Corner. P.S. If Aaron is watching, I don't know if Aaron's in the chat. I don't think I saw Aaron join the chat yet. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. If Aaron is watching, please show off the collection here as it contains his works. His design, especially the Cybertron ones, hold a special place in my heart. Also, there's two photos that are especially the golden egg of these. The other is a dud. Ooh, okay. And then let me just see. Hold on, because you guys said there was a Patreon listener question too. One moment. Okay, so the rest of these pages you don't have to read. It's commentary on the photos. Okay, I'll read these afterwards in private. There's a lot. It's a lot, guys. And I don't want to take all your time tonight because I also have to take Patreon listener questions and stuff. Clyde, Clyde did ask something. Okay, Clyde, I'll get to your question too, brother. Um, so I'll answer the Patreon listener question afterward. I'll answer your Patreon listener question in a moment. Let me just do Clyde's question, then we'll go through these photos too. Clyde wanted to know because he gave the super chat. Does Hasbro know or care that some items are shelf warming and some are just so hard to find, like the GI Joe classified figures with face figures versus army builders? Hasbro pays attention. The thing is that case assortments are always planned in advance. So when certain figures, like to give an example, your simple deluxe case, right? It has eight figures, two characters usually per case. Once in a while, you get a one per case, like the Cosmos situation, but usually it's two figures per case. When something's shelf warm, that's really the audience making that decision and deciding. And Hasbro does pay attention to that. No, anyone who lived during like the 2010, 2011, 2012, the hive of Bumblebee era, you could just Google that stuff. There was times when Toys R Us and Walmart and Target, it was just nothing but Bumblebee product. It was like Dark of the Moon Bumblebee stuff, Transformers Prime Bumblebee stuff. It was just a sea of yellow. And Hasbro realized, okay, I think we need to back this up a little bit. So they pay attention. Characters that don't sell well, characters that army build, or that not army build, that shelf warm, they pull it back. I mean, look, why haven't we had a mud flap in so many years? Mud flap, aka tuner mud flap specifically, was another one of those like high tier, was shelf warming forever kind of things. So they pay attention to that. They really do. They really do. It's just that you have to understand, for them to react to that, when you have sometimes a creation and lead time of like 12 to 14 months, by the time they like realize, oh, like to give an example, like you go to Walmart today and you go, wow, let me think of an example that could be contemporary. Um, what's on shelves right now? Like Hot Shot maybe is just starting to show up. Like, let me give an example that I'm seeing. I'm noticing that the Legacy bulkhead is still sitting around. That Wave 1 Legacy bulkhead, some of those are still sitting around. So what happens is what's up, Larry? What happens is it takes them at least a good 12 to 14 months to go, okay, that didn't do well. We got to pull that one back. you know? So by the time you see a reaction to a bulkhead toy not doing well, whether it be the character or the design, it's going to take about a year to a year and a half before you as a fan see the end result of it, the reaction. RC is another one too, Legacy RC. You know, there's a few definitely. So a lot of their pictures, I'm just going to try to turn in a way where you guys could see too. A lot of their pictures is their collection. So you got like, this is obviously Cybertron, all his Autobots, and then Cybertron, all his Decepticons. I'll give you a suggestion right now. Just my personal opinion. Um, always try to do, and I know obviously not everyone has the budget for it, but try to always have non-open space shelving. I understand you guys are like, oh, how do you know, I don't have the money for closed shelving like that. But I'm telling you, it looks good now. Look at that shiny Pledge, no dust. Brother, that was me one time. But there's gonna be a lot of dust soon enough. So you want to definitely try to get some kind of closed shelving. My buddy Hydra, he did a kind of ghetto version where he bought some like plexiglass and he kind of just put it on hinges on the side of like Walmart shelving. Like there's a way to keep the dust out. And trust me, it's better in the long run because you could also damage maybe not so much older toys that are from the 2000s, but there's certain ones that are very PVC and paint heavy, and that could damage the product long time, especially if you have dust on them and then you have a humid environment. So you got Energon, Autobots there. You got obviously the Energon Decepticons. It looks like it's a lot of their collection. I want to see which one he's talking about. That's the big surprise. So you got, I'll just do it like this because it's a lot of photos. It's a lot. You got Movieverse. You got Dark of the Moon. You got Devastator movie stuff. More movie stuff. More movies that have more a little bit of Bumblebee. Oh, guess who it is? You know what? Maybe he didn't send me a Funko Pop, but he sent me a picture of Funko Pops. You know what? I wonder if Jaws D got that jazz. Jaws D, I don't know if you're in the chat today. I didn't see you, Wendell. But I wonder if Jaws D ever got that jazz. Someone gift Jaws D that jazz to troll him. There's that cliff jumper from Classics. Good stuff here. There's the third party stuff. A little bit of everything there. And then more third party stuff, a little bit of everything. Those were the top spin and twin twists. My buddy Sid worked on those. A lot of good stuff there. More third party. A lot of third party. Oh, here we go. Siege, and a little bit of Earthrise. More Earthrise with some Kingdom sprinkled in. And then we got some Legacy with a little bit of some Earthrise there. Oh, there's some Beasts. Got some Beasts there. A little bit of Kingdom with the Transmutate, which I never got that Transmutate. I really should have got it. There's the big boy. I finally got to see Metroplex in person at Toys R Us. $350. Are they out of their minds? I don't know. Toys R Us, come on, man. Here, I think this is the photo he's talking about. Look at all those hot rods together. That's I guess that's the golden photo. That's a nice one. Next week, I'm going to be showing off some cool hot rod stuff that I got. Look at that. That's really nice. Look at that. Oh, my boy. Wax Eric. That's a cherry purchase right there. Never have to buy the original again. There's another cherry purchase. Minerva. Another one too. That would have cost you an arm and a leg if you had to buy the original. Figure of the year, one of them in G-Axis. Nice vintage Armada collection. Here's an Aaron Archer shot. All the vintage Armada. 20 years old now. Imagine it's 20 years old. Is Aaron in the chat today? I didn't see Aaron's name. I wonder if Aaron's in there. Vintage Beast Wars. 25 years old. Some good stuff there. What do you got there? You got Transmetal Cheetor. You got Sonar. Sonar is a really good one too. Vintage Beast Wars Predacons. Good stuff. Animated. Some good animated. We're almost done here. More animated. Then we got some Miscellanea Beast Wars. Looks like the reissue because there's no paint in the chest of that Optimus there. So it looks like it's the reissue. Tripredacus in decent shape. Always a good thing. Not combined though. I'm surprised. Someone actually displays it not combined. There's your masterpieces. Got some of the good masterpieces there. Don't have Megatron yet. I got to pick up Megatron one day. More third party, more mixture of stuff. We got a little bit of everything in that one. Oh, there's a very fragile Megatron there. More Optimus is. A little bit of miscellanea. And that, well, very cool. Very cool, my friend. Very, very cool. Uh, Word Sound Warp. Let me just scroll up a little bit. Sorry, guys, if I was missing stuff. Word Sound Warp. Anyone else? We just sing "We Are Number One" in our head for the pod. Word Sound Warp. 1,300 pounds is Unicron myself, so I'm feeling the sting, but worth it. I've always felt that Unicron, at least, it while was also a little overpriced, was much more worth it and made more sense for a Hasbro Pulse item. Eldon Tolbert with the super chat. Imagine if Waspinator made clones of himself after he gets blown up. Planet of Waspinators. Well, that's kind of what the Wodoros set was that me and Jesse worked on for BotCon. We had all those Waspinator molds that were the Wodoros members. So let me just get your Patreon question here. So let's look at the Patreon question. Where is it? Oh no, wait, that's not it. Where's the Patreon question? I saw it a moment ago when I was leafing through this. Here we go. Here we go. Let me just scroll back down, guys. And then we'll get to the cool toys afterwards. So the Patreon question here is from Cobra, and he wants to know, what are the chances, in your opinion? Oh no, no, it's not that one. It's Delta that asked the question. Sorry, I apologize. Wanted to know what's your opinion on third-party companies and the products they sell. Why don't you talk about them much on the podcast? During the 2010s, I felt like they were a big part of Transformer history, and for a lot of them, and how the artists were able to show their take on beloved characters and ideas, while others providing us from continuities or lines that Hasbro haven't or have never touched. Shout out to Mastermind Creations and all their IDW creations. And while it's died down quite a bit since the Big V, good lingo there, although I think we could use it now. I don't know. I don't know if YouTube is being weird. I have to still play it safe. A few excuse me, die down since the Big V. A few still produce product and gave inspiration to many 3D printed items in the secondary market from regular fans like me and you. Do you have any favorites of your own or any that you look back in that you enjoy? Keep it awesome. The Twins Corner. So, third party stuff I don't really talk about that much, mostly because this podcast really just kind of focuses on official Transformer news, and not to mention there's so much third party stuff. And you have to understand, for the longest while, I was the presenter of the third party panel at TFCon, and it sucked because I remember like we would show off stuff. And people would get excited, and then before those stuff would get released, either the company would go bankrupt or they wouldn't do it anymore. So I don't like to talk about stuff that's like, oh, hey, this is coming or this is coming, and then it doesn't happen in the end. I mean, it's very rare that like Hasbro promotes a product or reveals a product and then it doesn't happen. Oh, Aaron is here. Perfect. I got some cool stuff I got to show too, Aaron. Um, I really liked your live stream yesterday. um, so I mean, that's one of the big reasons. I mean, just wanted to show you guys. I actually helped work on. Where is that book? Where is that book? Is it this one? Here it is. So a while back, I worked on a book with Philip Reed called Transforming Collections, and Philip signed it. Thanks. And it was pretty much the history of early third party, like how it first began. And I had a lot of those like really rare original third party items. You know, let me just find. See, like here, uh, a lot of these pages were because of Proto Man. It says in the corner there. So like the early third party stuff. See, like here's all the TFCon third party stuff. There's Toxin, my baby, one of my very first creations that became official Transformer canon later on. This too for my personal collection. You know, the very first of Cliff kit, which was the very first fan project creation back in the day. You know, it's the early third party. As like you guys said, the 2010s was that golden era. The fans project stuff. You know, this book actually is a strong reflection of that early era of that kind of stuff. Oh, Shafter, look at Shafter. Again, something I had a hand in creating. the old Shafter figure. So this book a lot talks about a lot of that early third party stuff, the good old quintessons that used to go for really good money from Impossible Toys. Good crew of people, Impossible Toys. I like those guys. But yeah, so this book, it's out of print. It's really tough to find right now. But Transforming Collections by Philip Reed. I'm pretty sure if you contact Philip Reed, or battlegrip.com, um, he might be able to direct you in the right direction to pick one up. Maybe he has some dead stock of it. And so I had a hand in third party stuff and still do once in a while. And actually, off camera, I'm staring at a prototype of a future exclusive that's going to be coming up. And I can't show you guys, but it's off screen. Oh. I can't show it. It's in the prototype form. I don't like to show off product until it's more appealing, but it is something that'll probably make its debut at Toronto's TFCon, and then you could pick it up then. Um, but yeah, so it's something where uh, I like third party, but I like third party when they do stuff that Hasbro won't do. And the new crew of guys working at Hasbro right now, Evan, Mark, and even Sam. Sam's more of the studio series stuff, so he's kind of stuck within his bubble of what he could do. But Mark and Evan, they're bringing us the obscure. Like it used to be a time where it's like, man, are we ever going to get a decent G-axis? Are we ever going to get this? Are we ever going to get that? And now all that stuff is happening. So it's something where the way I see it is that now it's kind of like pointless to talk about third party. My first statement, how a lot of stuff that gets revealed ends up not happening, but I do like third party stuff. And you wanted me to know some of my favorites. I loved, and it was a TFCon exclusive that I had nothing to do with, but I loved that Bluster and Trench Super Mario 2-pack. Like that is like you take my two worlds of video game stuff and Transformers and you put them together, and that was so cool that like I wish I did something with that. I wish I was involved. The most that I was able to do was once I found out that those were going to be exclusives, I put them in one of the comic books that we wrote with me and Josh Perez. We worked together on a little, I think it was a Shafter related comic book, and we just kind of like stuck them in the background. I think it was a Shafter book. I don't remember which book it was. It was one of the comic books we wrote. When you write so many of them, it's hard to remember anymore. But that's definitely one of my favorites. Another really good one, was they did that what was it, Mastermind Creation did it. It was one of the companies that did the IDW Rodimus. So far right now, Hasbro has shown no interest to kind of do stuff in that IDW flavor, and it probably will be a while before that stuff does happen. So that if you're someone who likes IDW stuff, that fills in the blanks. Now granted, the Tarn that we got recently is an IDW idea, but also I think Tarn also was the wheels were greased a little bit you know, uh, when he appeared in Cyberverse as the ultimate Decepticon. So I think that also kind of like opened the doors to him being there. I mean, there's the model kits that are officially licensed, and Action Toys does here and there of some IDW designs. So it's not out of the question that some of those characters will at some point get toys in some shape or form. But on the toy shelf, it's a little more different. So I like that. I mean, if we get a transmutate, or if we get like I like what Transart is doing with all those Beast Wars ones. All those Beast Wars ones are fantastic. They're really cool. I'm not talking about them that much on the podcast, but I promise you, I'm buying them. I think they're really cool because they kind of fill a gap and a need until if, and that's the thing with Takara and Hasbro is you could only put out so much product a year. So it's a lot harder for them to keep up with 17 different third party companies. They're all putting out their own individual unique products, and they have, all right, one wave is going to be 4 deluxes, 2 Voyagers, 2 leader classes. And a wave is sometimes 3 to 6 months of shelving. So it's hard to keep up where this company's doing this company's doing that. Oh, why isn't he doing that? Oh, why isn't Hasbro doing this? Oh, why isn't Takara doing that? It's tough. I could understand people I could understand people like being frustrated with it, but they also have to understand the pace. It's very tough. Where are we at here? Where are we at here? Whatever happened to Philip Reed? Is he still posting? Yeah, he is. He's working on a new book, if I remember correctly. It's just that he's doing, I forget what his new book is, but it's not related to Transformers. He's working on something else right now. He's still writing all the time. You just got to contact him. He's just not doing TF stuff right now. He's doing other things. Um, but yeah, but yeah. So hope that answers that question more or less. Your other question, we did a Patreon listener question individual not too long ago. So let me just grab some stuff here beforehand, and then we're gonna crack open this guy afterwards. We got an hour left anyway. So Aaron Archer showed off a whole bunch of cool stuff um, in relation to Transformers Armada stuff. He showed these off, which I have too. Um, and he was wondering what was the name of the company that did these little books here, these little Transformer books that came with stickers. Mine are in little plastics because when I bought them from my local comic shop, he wrapped them up for me because he knows how crazy I am. So these were actually done by uh, Reader's Digest, of all things. Reader's Digest, for you kids who don't know, was at one point the number one selling magazine in the world with over 40 million subscribers. Like they're like a crazy magazine back in the day and were ridiculously popular. um, Reader's Digest's biggest boast was we're the magazine that even people with over 100K annual income will buy. And I don't even know what they meant by that, but I guess they were trying to say that even rich, sophisticated people read our magazine. But they also had their Reader's Digest Kids division, and that's where these came from. It's actually where also, and Aaron showed this also. What a surprise! A lot of stuff that Aaron was showing off, I also have too, because I'm a psycho. The official Armada guidebook, and if you look on the back here, then you look at the back of the official Armada guidebook, it's very similar in style here, because it's all done. These are all done by Reader's Digest. These books. So, and the Armada guidebook's really cool. I like that. Nice little guidebook and everything. Aaron had some cool coloring books and stuff that I'd never seen before, which made me salivate a little bit. So I was kind of jealous of those. Definitely jealous of those. But what also Aaron showed off, he showed off Shitaka Jiki. He showed off a Transformers Armada Shitaka Jiki, which is a pencil board. And what pencil boards are, here's one here. It's a Transformers Zone pencil board. Is in Japanese culture, a lot of times when you're doing your homework or you're writing something, the pencil, your pen or pencil, it'll scratch through the paper and could damage the table. Or alternatively, if you're in a notebook, it'll write through the notebook, either scratch it or scratch the indentation of what you're writing above it, or alternatively just mark right through completely, depending on what kind of marker you're using or something. So this was kind of something that you would kind of put under a page. And I wanted to show this one because I have a whole bunch of them, and not just of Transformers. I have Mega Man ones, I have Ninja Turtle ones because there's Japanese Ninja Turtles pencil boards. I have Gundam ones, I have Nintendo ones. But I love this one. I think I've only shown this once before because this one was a Transformer Zone one. But what was cool about it was a play set for your zone for your MicroMasters. Look at that. You know, like the old like it's a carpet and you could put your Hot Wheels on it and stuff. So they did the same thing but for MicroMasters, and that was really cool. Where you could have like there's like the whole Rescue Patrol there. See now because of Star Saber, everyone's familiar with those characters. And you got some of the others there, Tailspin, and I think that's what's his name there? It was oh my god. I forget what the repaint name of it was in Japan, but pretty cool. Pretty cool that they did that. So I just wanted to kind of just show that one off there because that's like one of my favorite pencil boards. That it's a functional one. It's actually something that you could actually play with on top of it, which is pretty cool. So like Aaron had a bunch of cool Armada ones. I don't have those ones, but those ones are cool too. So and one thing that he didn't show from that era was the Genesis art book, which was this one's a tough book to get now. I found out that it had a low print run or something because it actually didn't get shipped initially. And this book came out around the time of Transformers Armada going into Energon, and even some of Aaron's art is on the back there. Oh, One sec. Let's put you in. Who's that? Aaron Archer, colored by Marcelo. Marcelo was actually in his chat yesterday too. So you got some nice Aaron art in that one. But there's also a nice, really cool book that has a whole bunch of Armada art. It has a lot of talented people in this one. I believe also like Dan Kahana, Makoto Ono. Who else is in here? It's a lot of Makoto Ono. There's a lot of mainframe stuff in here, a lot of Dreamwave stuff because it's from that era. Again, all the mainframe Beast War stuff. Nice, cool book. I don't know how much it is in the secondary market, but again, finding out. See, this was originally $30, hardcover, done by Image. This is before IDW got the printing rights and then started doing all the Transformer stuff after Dreamwave kind of bowed out. But another cool little book. Definitely check that one out. And last but not least, that I wanted to. So you guys were also talking about Mr. Pat Lee, and and Marcelo was in the chat too. And you know, I had my own personal experiences with Pat Lee. Um, he's one of those individuals that, as a Toronto local, uh, people knew him very well from the art community and stuff. And Pat was one of those guys, and I'm quoting someone who knew him very well. I don't want to say the individual, but they worked with him, and they said Pat is a really great guy. He'll give you the shirt off his back. If you need to be driven somewhere, he'll drive you. Just don't lend him $5. You'll never see it. So I think that kind of summed up Pat in a lot of ways, is that he was a really cool dude. He was very nice, but I think that he always would get in over his head. He was too nice. And I mean, the best example is that I went to meet Pat at a Montreal Fan Expo when those were a thing. They don't exist anymore, to get his autograph. I just wanted to get his autograph on his Hot Rod cover. And when I was getting the autograph, there was no line for him, small show. And me and him were talking, and then he's like, "Hey, do you want me to draw you something?" And I was like, "Really?" And he offered to draw me a hot rod, original sketch. And that was really cool of him. And he offered. I didn't ask him. He offered. This was in 2003. He dated it too. And after I was doing it, my buddy Goober saw the drawing being done. And then Pat offered to draw everyone anything they want in the con. So he had this huge queue, and he was drawing for free sketches for everybody. And in a lot of ways, I feel that sums up Pat in a lot of ways, is that he was too nice. And that hurt him and his company in a lot of ways, because he would take promises that he probably couldn't keep due to time and workload. And as a result, things happened. I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just giving my own personal experience of being around him and what other people have told me who do know him very well. It's like I said, super nice guy. Just don't lend him $5. He'll probably never see it because he's just overflowing with stuff or something. But that's, again, that's just, I want to just give my 2 cents on Pat, because, people know the people that I hang out with at cons and stuff like that and everything. So it is what it is, like I always say. Let's just go into some questions quickly, some green chats. Lord Soundwarp, I'm signing off. Watch the rest of the podcast tomorrow. Need some sleep. Take care, Lord Soundwarp. Let's see. Prince and Fountain Space 9. What's up with Hasbro doing layoffs after they're doing price increases? Well, the thing is, I didn't really read too much into the layoffs yet, but the thing is that what were the jobs specifically that were laid off? Someone would have to cue me in on that, because I'm hearing conflicting information. Because yeah, there could be layoffs, but the layoffs might not be related to different things. I'm pretty sure designers aren't getting laid off. It might be like lower tier kind of guys. Maybe they hired too many people for the holiday season. Again, I'd have to have that information of who specifically was getting laid off. That's always important information for me. Abraham been waiting to get that book, but it's a very pricey. Oh, okay. There we go. David Cabal, what's up, David? Sarah, I'm back today, and Kimba the White Lion, and I get a Kimba the White Lion transformer. So, what we're going to open up today well, more super chats come in and questions. This is the Super 7, the very last one of the wave. We've been opening them up the past couple weeks and giving our opinions of them. They were on mega clearance at one point on Entertainment Earth, $15, and I wasn't going to say no to $15, and so I picked them up for that price. They're definitely, I don't know, in my opinion, not worth the full price, but I could definitely do $15. So today is the last day of Wave 1, and it is hopefully the face of the brand. I would hope so. And hopefully the best representation of the Super 7 stuff. We're going to be doing Optimus Prime today. So, yeah, let's do the big reveal because they have very sexy boxes at least. There's Optimus. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the basketball. I forgot about Basketball Prime. Oh, look at the head already fell off. It's bouncing around in there. Oh, there it goes. That's not secure. So we're going to be cracking open this one here. Again, they look very nice. That's like, I won't knock them on presentation. Very nice looking box. Very Action Master G1 style kind of tech spec on the back to kind of really solidify that these don't transform, but they're still a high fidelity action figure. You know, what do we got here? Reports say about 50% of the workforce, like 1,000 people. 1,000 people. But what were the jobs, though? That's a piece of information I'd like to hear. What were the jobs that were laid off? Was it accounting? Was it PR? Was it the janitor? You know, 1,000 people is a lot of people, though. And there goes that extra head. Where does it even pluck in here? Does it even go anywhere? I guess it goes here. There we go. Anyone get the Super 7 Simpsons ones? Asks David Cabal. I was tempted to get the Bartman one and the Duffman one because I like superhero stuff in Super 7 and excuse me in the Simpsons. If they ever make a Radioactive Man, that's a day one purchase. I'll pick that one up for sure. They have to do Radioactive Man. They really do. Just all that taken out. All right, so he comes with his toy accurate head, a matrix of leadership, a Spike. Yeah, there's Spike over there. Bunch of hands. Would have should have been Tommy Kennedy, and then a basketball, which if I believe correctly goes on that finger here. This one where he could spin it on his finger. So let's bring out the Optimus. We opened up the Bombshell. We opened up the Bonsai-tron. We opened up the Ghost of Starscream. Oh, and it's true. And he also has the surfboard and Sideswipe's rocket pack and some Energon net from the episode Countdown to Extinction. So this one's a pretty meaty one. I'll give it that. It's 2 layers of stuff. So it looks like you get a lot here. So already off the bat, it's definitely better than all the others. Sorry, it's a little loud. Already off the bat, it's a lot better than a lot of the others just in terms of accessories and stuff because you get a lot more. The other ones were very light on accessories. So we need a Super 7 Ultimates Hot Rod. Well, I kind of hope they don't because then I don't have to buy it. I'm pretty fine with the. Here, I have it already on my table. The reaction one here, which by the way, for scale, just to give you an idea of how big these are. These are pretty large. These are large figures. The reactions are 3.25. So it's got an ab crunch. So that's nice, at least. I mean, it looks nice. Looks nice. It's got that very, G1 cartoon look to it, so you could appreciate that. Reminds me of the old Metal Force Optimus that we got many years ago. That was a 12-inch figure that kind of did a similar kind of thing. So it looks nice. Then it has the toy accurate head sculpt on it. Let's see if I could rip this off without losing the peg. There we go. Toy accurate head sculpt. And see, here's the problem though. Like, they put a toy accurate head sculpt on it, but it looks kind of weird. on this body. You know what I mean? Like it just looks weird. It just doesn't. I mean, I appreciate the effort, but doesn't that look weird on it compared to this? You know? I don't know. Comment below. I don't know. It looks weird. Maybe it's just me. Put that head back on. At least it's good joints, nice and tight. Let's get some of those accessories out there. Here's the finger. Super 7 hot rod. If we could do a Super 7 hot rod. Let's see. So here's Spike. Let's take out Spike. So Spike is an unarticulated slug figure. So it's just one piece of mold, no articulation, just standing there, no paint on the face. It's just pretty bare bones. It kind of looks like this could have been included with a Tonka construction figure. So nothing too special about the Spike, unfortunately. It looks like something I would have gotten like in a Hot Wheels pack or something. So nothing about that says Spike to me, outside of, just being a construction looking dude included with a Transformer toy. So here is the basketball that it comes with for that one episode, and obviously it has a hole in the bottom so that you could put the finger on the basketball and then he could do that. So it's like he's spinning it. So sure, that's a thing. I'm pretty sure no one's gonna be displaying it like that unless you're. I guess if you get those, those new starting lineup figures that Hasbro's working on, the basketball players, you could have Optimus, you know, going down with Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. We got a gold super chat. Let's read the gold super chat. Looks like a really good one here. Spunkman Prime Transformers stuff with the gold super chat. BWGWNB. I just got Legacy Armada Hotshot. I just put him next to my custom Armada wheeljack that I made out of a Siege Sideswipe, which is a very good move. I'm surprised Hasbro hasn't done that yet. It makes me want an official one. Can you work your proto magic and have Mark design him? Actually, if it would be a repaint from a Siege mold, you probably would want to have to talk to maybe even Evan, because Evan is more on the repaint side of it afterwards. Mark does designing, so does Evan, but Evan's the one that's more like if they decide repaints afterwards. Specifically ones that don't have a head sculpt already planned. Like obviously like a shattered glass or a sideswipe homage, you could kind of get away with a 100% repaint. I look up at my original sideswipe. I'm pretty sure they'll do it at some point. I really do. I really do. Like they're gonna milk those molds until the end of time. It's like right now. Like look at the Skids mold from Legacy. How many repaint retools there are of that one. Um, I'm gonna be talking with them soon, so we'll see. I think it's Evan I'm gonna be talking to too, not Mark. It's gonna be Ben, Evan, and someone else, but we'll see. I'll be talking to them soon. Wink, wink. You'll hear about it later. But we'll see. We will see. Thank you for the gold super chat. And again, if you like Armada Hotshot, the creator of Armada Hotshot's in the chat today, say hello, Aaron. But yeah. Proto, did you see that Super 7 Andre the Giant, says David Cabal? Yes, I did. It looks terrible. I'm so glad I didn't buy that. I like Andre the Giant. He had a big presence here in Montreal in the wrestling scene during the 80s and the 70s. But again, if I wasn't buying, Super 7 Transformer stuff at 55 to 65 a pop, a half naked Andre the Giant that I have no huge wrestling connection to, that I wasn't a huge Andre fan. I was just like, no, that's okay. That's fine. But I saw how bad it turned out. But you know what though? Supposedly there was a lot of people talking about it, how that's a lot like their Disney stuff that they did had a similar problem, where their Disney stuff was advertised how it looked one way and then it came out the other way, very different. So there we go. So we have his Energon axe. Yeah. But thank you again for the gold super chat, by the way, Spuckman Prime. Thank you for the gold super chat. That's very cool, my friend. Let's see. Sorry, I don't find this Prime that ultimate. Yeah, I agree with you, David. Michael Koo. You know, like it's I appreciate the size and I appreciate when they do obscure characters and stuff and it comes with obscure accessories. And I understand you have to do an Optimus. You don't have Wave 1 without an Optimus, and they really packed it with all the accessories. I have this conflicting feeling because it's like this one here, even though it's the most boring of the bunch. Actually, no, the Starscream's probably more boring. But the most vanilla of the bunch because hey, it's another Optimus figure. It does come with a lot of accessories. But as a result, I look at this Optimus now, being this that I opened this one last, and I'm looking at the Starscream that comes with nothing. And considering, like, when you think about it, right, it's like, man, they're, it's not like that Starscream mode's going to go to waste. They did the ghost colors, they're going to do regular colors, they're going to do all the other seeker jets, and it came with nothing. The bombshell, it came with the Action Master stuff. I understand there's only so much you could put with the Action Master stuff, and an Insecticon character, maybe little Insecticon clones they could have included. But I mean, this comes with the gun, the basketball, the spike, which is over here, down here, the multiple hands, the matrix, the energon axe, and then all of this. It makes all the other three releases look barren, empty. So this one, I guess, is worth it at 55, but it's also the most boring of the bunch in terms of the choice of character. But it is the most worth it in terms of the extras that you get. So I don't know. Conflicting feelings here. Let's put it that way. Like, and it's like, how am I going to want to display this? Am I going to want to put it like, holding the basketball with the Matrix? Like the Matrix is included. The chest doesn't open. You can't open the chest, so he's just going to hold the Matrix, I guess, pretending he's dying. I don't know. Again, I I don't mind picking these up at 15 bucks. At 15 bucks, it's a steal, and that's a fantastic price for what you're getting. Definitely a lot better than they're better than the RED stuff. I'm not a fan of that line from what I've messed with. So, I mean, the Soundwave's okay, I guess, but again, at that price, I don't know. This one is worth it at 55 because you get a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's an Optimus Prime. You be the judge if that's valuable to you or not. When you're someone like me that has a lot of Optimus Primes, you know, it's on my chest, it's on my pins, it's everywhere. Let's get that surfboard out and answer some more questions. Some super chat questions. Where are we at here? Sarah Proto, we gonna have more animals from the Japanese series. We need a new Apache and a new Long Rack, or the Tanuki, aka Heinrad, that you're referring to, with his big testicles. Um, well, the reissues we will see. Let's just say there was a reason why I did that segment a couple days ago. Some people were inquiring some answers. So if you want to have your voice heard, I suggest, and it's not me trying to plug something, comment in that video and leave your opinions. That's all I'm going to say to that. Where are we at here? Michael Koo says Super 7 in each ways always puts a lot of money into one figure and then makes the other figure so-so. Well, that sucks. They should balance it at least. Otherwise, people just go to one figure. That really sucks then. There's Optimus on his surfboard. From that one episode. I probably should have the hands where he's like this. Cowabunga, Megatron. You know what? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I swear this is like the cover of like this is like from a Nintendo Power ad or something. One moment. This is probably how I'm going to display it now that I just thought of it. Make it nice and funny. Got half an hour left in the stream. My goodness. Gonna have him like riding the surfboard while holding the basketball. It's like a Nintendo Power ad. Radical, dude. Even though this is an 80s property figure, then it should be done in G2 colors. This is so weird. This is such a weird product. This is such a weird product. We got a super chat from Mayoral Fabrication. And he wants to know, never find dead end of Wave 3 with Evolution out. You think I should buy him secondhand or wait? I assume my card does not arrive this week in the P.O. box. Mayoral, I didn't check the P.O. box this week, so it is possible it might be there. The only time my P.O. box ever lets me know if something is there is if I get something. My P.O. box is very small. It could hold maybe like two 2-liter classes before, and the second it's too big, like if something's too big for the PO box, or if it's something that it's like the PO box is full and it's gushing out, then the PO box people, they contact me and go, you have 1 week to pick up your package, otherwise we're going to charge you for taking extra space. So if you sent me a card, I'm going to assume, as you said here, then they're not going to email me. But now that I know, I'll definitely check it out this week. I'll try to make time to swing by and pick it up, brother. Go by the PO box. I don't know what's in there. I usually check it maybe once a week. It's not 100% close to home, so sometimes it's like I have to be in the area. And today I just did my grocery shopping, did my thing, and look at that, number one, and that's that. So, but I'll definitely check it out. Thank you for sending a card in the PO box. Is this how we're going to display it? And maybe I'll put the Energon apps. This is how we're going to do things. But thank you for the super chat, Mayoral. We got another super chat from Dunn. With what is already leaked, no combiner anytime soon. Well, we don't know. We don't know what's going to be happening with what's after Legacy Evolution. We know that there's going to be a Legacy Uni, could be Unicron, Universe, Uni something. But in terms of combiners, we don't know yet. We do not know, because it's pretty clear that they're very happy with how Motormaster turned out. The fans were very happy with how Motormaster turned out. If I had to say in the short term what the next combiner is going to be, it's going to be a G2 repaint of Motormaster, judging by what we're seeing already planned in the short run and what's out there. But it's something that, we'll see. We will see. We'd have to definitely tune in, where are we at here? We'll definitely have to see, though. I said it before. I think that the next one will definitely be an Autobot team, and it'll probably be Superion. That's just my take. I'm not saying that's official. That's just my personal opinion. Detective Ferret with the $2 super chat. I want to see Super 7 do Mummies Alive. I would frickin' love that. That would be amazing. That would be very costly to me, but I would love that. Mummies Alive is a Kenner brand, later on a Hasbro brand. It's just a matter if they feel that there's money in it. I would have to say, and this is me saying it honestly, and I love Mummies Alive, but I don't think there's money in it. I think that the success of the Thundercats one will help them determine if even more weird stuff could be done like that. I'd love to see Super 7 Ultimate Cowboys of Moo Mesa. Why? Because Cowboys of Moo Mesa never had decent figures. If you look at their original figures, it doesn't look like their show counterparts. They're very exaggerated Ninja Turtle style kind of figures. So I'd love to see Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Bots Master. You guys, I've said it. Bots Master, King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Biker Mice from Mars, Mummies Alive, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Just name random 90s crappy toy line, and Proto Man collects it because he loves it. Wildcats. What's another one? I know I'm forgetting stuff. There's so many. Bucky O'Hare. They're doing Bucky O'Hare. There's the Bucky O'Hare ones, but that's Boss Fight Studio did the Bucky O'Hare stuff. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? We got a super chat from the Twins Corner who didn't ask a question. Twins, ask a question. Don't just donate, brother. Ask a question also. Bumblebot with $2 super chat. Will you be able to ask about lockdown with the TF crew? Let's put it this way. I have a short list of questions that I have for them. That's all I'm gonna say. I only have so many of those questions that I'm gonna ask. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not taking other people's questions, so don't bother to try to submit. I have my own logical questions that I want to use that are going to serve us more of a purpose than are we going to get a lockdown? Brother, there's a lockdown in the background of that poster. What do you think? What do you think? There's a lockdown shaped guy in the background of that poster. What do you think? Abraham Pormeris wants to know, Proto, what do you think of the Tomica Job Reaver line? I saw those. I saw those. Those look pretty cool. That's Takara, man. Like Tomica is like it's Takara. You know, they do all these weird subline stuff that's not Transformers, but like in essence they could exist in that world. And it's the same thing like what's it called? Chike Leon, you know? It's like you look at that show and you go, why isn't there this they put that time and energy and just make it Transformers as a separate thing. But I think that's just, Hasbro and Takara have a partnership. They're not one company. So I think they also still want to make their own IPs that are individual. But I think it's a cool line. Not buying any of it anytime soon. Too much stuff to buy right now. But definitely something that does interest me. David Cabal with the $2 super chat. What's your first independent comic book you ever read? Ooh, that's a good question. And when you say independent, we're not like, you have Marvel, you have DC, and then outside of that, right? I don't count Malibu because that's part of Marvel in the sister company of things. So I'm not going to count Malibu. Geez, what was the first ever independent book? Hmm. I'm not going to count. I can't count Now Comics, right? Because they had all those Speed Racer books I read back in the day, and Astro Boy, so it can't be that. I didn't read like I don't count the Turtle books I read because that's Archie, and that's definitely not independent. Definitely not independent. Um, Geez, that's a tough one, David. I want to say Eclipse Comics, excuse me, the X Mutants comics. Very obscure book. Uh, Ron Lim, who would go on to work on a whole bunch of great Thanos related books, Thanos Quest being probably one of his best known ones. And I think yeah, he did some penciling for Infinity Gauntlet. Ron Lim, one of his first gigs on a wider published basis was X Mutants, which was I think it was Eclipse Comics. Very obscure book, clearly taking advantage of that late 70s, early 80s X-Men boom and kind of doing their own book with mutants and stuff like that. Uh, Malibu, aka Marvel, would end up buying the trademark for it and then printing a second reboot series of it under the Malibu name X Mutants. So if people are familiar with the name X Mutants, it's probably from the more mainstream version of it, which was a reboot under Malibu, and then they did a Sega Genesis video game. That's a really good question, David. That's a good one. I never really had to think about that. My first one, I'm trying to think if there was anything before that. Because my sister too, I was very lucky because I had a sister and she would buy. Obviously, we'll call them girly books, but I still read them because to me it was like, hey, more comic books, you know. Um, Geez, what did Annie have that would be independent? Annie was really more Marvel DC. I wish Annie was in the chat right now. Maybe she would be able to think of something. Because she had like, Todd McFarlane stuff, Image, Spawn, first appearance of what's her name? Why am I blanking right now on her? On someone in the chat, why am I blanking on her name right now? But my sister had the first appearance of her, that book. She was right on the cover. She killed Medieval Spawn. Why am I blanking on the name right now? Anyways, that's a good question, David. I'm gonna have to get back to you if I have a different answer. I'm gonna go with X Mutants, number one. Special. It was number one special edition. I bought it from a Comic Con back in 19. What else came out? So it was before Death of Superman, and Death of Superman happened in '93. I want to say '94. So it was before Death of Superman. So I bought it around that time, and it was in like a dollar bin. I would always flip through the dollar bin stuff, and me and my dad, like my dad would pick up a bunch of dollar bin books. That was some good times. Good times, the simple times of the small Comic Cons. Bumblebot, Proto, forget Nasil bought the rights to but they bought the rights to Biker Mice from Mars with the new series and toy incoming. That's true. That is true. That was news. I posted that on my Twitter. I'm excited about that. The one request that I have is because when they rebooted Biker Mice the first time, they didn't reboot it. It was kind of a sequel series. I didn't like that they made Throttle have a green motorcycle and green motif. Go back to his like Harley black motif. I really like that. I understand they wanted to have associating colors. Vinny is red. Um, Moto is purple and Throttle is green, really break it up more and make it more colorful. But I liked it when it was a black and red motorcycle and he was like a chain badass guy. I liked him. Um, David says, yeah, no DC or Marvel. No, obviously I wouldn't count those, but I'm thinking even like can't count Archie, can't count Now Comics. I would have to say, like, if I had to say outside of Marvel DC, Now Comics was probably the first independent book I like, not independent, but first non-Marvel DC book was something from Now Comics. Probably Speed Racer, Ghostbusters, or Astro Boy. I don't remember which one I got first. I would have to say Speed Racer if I had to take a guess. And then of course, like, the amount of Ninja Turtle Archie books that I picked up throughout the years as a kid, those were always like a gift or something. TMNT was independent, but that was Mirage Studios. I didn't pick up the Mirage Studio books. I picked up the Archie ones. There's a difference there. I didn't pick up the Mirage Studio TMNT books until years later as a collector trying to get those old books. I don't have the first print of the very first one. You see me hold the little basketball here. It's going to be my little little fidget item in my hand. I never got the first print of the original 1984 release. I got the third print of that. I got the first print of issue 2, the second print of issue 2. There's a booby cover of April. I think it was the second print of issue 2. I picked up that one. Google it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah. David Cabal, really cool proto. I've been in a 2001 itch with reading Magellan, and oh, you're watching the X Force comics and X Static. There's a lot of, you know what? There was so much books that came out in the 90s, so many, that there's a lot of stuff that flew under the radar with me. Like, I knew, like, Icon was a really good one with the Milestone comics through DC. I read it. I owned like the first issue many years ago, read it quickly as a kid, kept it more as like a collectible. And then years later, revisiting it because they did Blue Marvel, which was like this black Superman character in the Marvel books. And then I had this conversation with Jaws D, and it's like, yeah, he's kind of like their version of Icon. And I'm like, yeah, Icon. I remember him. And then I went back and I read the Icon books, and those were with Rocket. Those are really good books. Those are really good books. Really, really good books. Very unique take on a black Superman, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't want to spoil it. I want people to read it. It's a good book. You could find it online probably, but pretty sure there's trades and stuff. Uh, Sarah says, Proto, you think that the Beast Machines Megatron will be a Selects exclusive because all the colors of the rotting dragon and and the bathrobe. It doesn't necessarily mean that if something has a lot of paint and a retooling that it has to be a Selects exclusive. There's always a way that you could work within the budget. So he's a leader class. If they have to retool stuff and everything and do certain paint, would you be down if it's a commander? Would you be down if they do something like that? I mean, there's always ways that you could kind of move things around. It's kind of like this boy right here. He's a deluxe class in any shape or form, but if you want to have articulated hands, if you want to have the little piece for the visor, if you want to have all the little extra accessories, Do you mind if we put it in a Voyager packaging and call it the best Studio Series toy of all time? No biased, of course. No biased, of course. I want to make sure I don't miss any ones. We have a gold super chat here from Twins Corner. Thanks for reading our letter, Proto Man. We're really hoping to see another Maximal come from the future Legacy line, like Polar Claw. Yeah, Polar Claw's hype. Or even Nyx. Nyx, I want to see a toy done for sure. They got, you know what? If we get a Bat Primal, there's going to be a Nyx at some point. What do you think? Yeah, Nyx for sure. Nyx for sure. Polar Claw needs to get a new toy. I love the original Polar Claw toy. That's something if they don't do an official reissue of them, give us at least a remake. You know, do that at least. Angela, thank you, Michael Koo. It was Angela for the Spawn character. I don't know why I was. Sometimes I get like brain fog. When you know too much. Orbots would great to see as toys, says Abraham. I would love Orbots to happen, but it would be so sad because Derek Wyatt was such a huge fan of Orbots, such a huge fan. The intro to Transformers Animated, when you see Bulkhead, for a split second, Bulkhead eats something. He eats like a bunch of bolts or something in the intro of Transformers Animated. That's a direct homage to the intro of Mighty Orbots, where the character of Krunk is eating a bunch of bolts, and it's totally no, it's Ratchet, I think. It's been years, but yeah. So like he was a huge fan of Mighty Orbots, and Mighty Orbots, the toys technically were going to be retool repaints of God Mars, which was like a super robot from Japan. So they were going to take the God Mars toy, repaint, retool them to Bow and Boo and all the different characters, and it just never happened. And it had a Japanese run too. Man, I would love Mighty Orbots. That would be such like a come from behind story for that, because it came out and then they got sued into oblivion because it sounded too much like GoBots, and Hanna-Barbera's like, no, you got to change your name, and then they're like, oh, but we already did all the marketing, and so the toy line got canceled because there was a prototype that was in the works, which was going to be the God Mars toy repainted and retooled for retail. Ended up not happening, and then it all just went down the toilet like a lot of 80s cartoons do sometimes. Uh, David Cabal wants to know, back then when your parents would drop you off at the magazine rack, and pick you up later. I stumbled on Mike Alfred's art, and I felt like, ah, you must have loved it. The way that I used to get comics back in the day, I was very lucky that the very first way I got comics was we had a bodega that was in a mall across from my house, owned by a guy named Saul. He's no longer with us, but thank you, Saul, for everything. He was like an all-in-one bodega. He had comic books, toys, obviously, like greeting cards, and then food and all the other bodega stuff. And that's where I got my very first comic book of Fantastic Four, my very first Infinity Gauntlet issue, which was issue number 3. I got my first Ninja Turtle book there. And then I don't know how it happened. At some point, he got like a long box of old books. And if you look on my Instagram, I have the very first appearance of Peacemaker, like as in John Cena's character, Peacemaker, the original Charleston's comic Peacemaker first appearance book. He had a whole bunch of old books, and he was like $1 a piece. And granted, the only thing that's a negative was he put a sticker on the cover. There was no bags and boards back then. Um, and so that's what kind of sucked. So I had to peel the sticker off, and the residue's still on it. So my issue number 1 of Peacemaker is kind of ruined. But he had a lot of cool books. And my first Marvel trading cards I got from him. He got the Marvel trading cards. I started with Series 2. My first pack, I had the Thing in it. Like, oh, great memories, great memories. And then after him, everything else was comic book stores. Shout out to Million Comics, that is somewhat still with us today. Shout out to Capitan Quebec, which is somewhat still with us today. They're surviving. Shout out to Raw Comics, that's no longer with us today. Shout out to Sci-Fi Anime, that's no longer with us today. Um, what other great ones? Unique Comics, Comics with an X, which is still around today. Comic Plus, where I got my very first Tick comics by Ben Unlin. That was the owner, Dave. Shout out to him. I still know Dave to this day, but he no longer runs the comic store. You know, all those guys became close friends with a lot of those people, mostly because you run conventions, and then you just, you become You become the meeting area for all these guys years later, 20, 30 years later. I'm an old man. Where are we at here? Adult Swim. Oh, very adults. Now that's what happens when I finish reading the rest of it. Could it be an issue with Bandai due to the similarity to Godmars? No, it wouldn't have been. Bandai of America did not have a presence in America until Power Rangers, until 1993. So all Bandai related stuff, like the Godaiken line, everything was licensed out over there. Everything was licensed out, so it has nothing to do with Bandai. If anything, probably whoever would have put out that Mighty Orbot toy was probably going to Bandai and licensing out that mold to put it out, much like all the other stuff, for sure. Until 1993, Bandai was not a presence. I mean, look at best example. Look at Machine Robo, which became GoBots. That's Poppy, which became Bandai. You know, no Bandai there. Archive versus the World #1 is a great issue. You meant Archie, I assume. Yeah, Archie. There you go. Archie versus the World. Twins Corner with the super chat. We sent a gold super chat asking our question. I think I got it, didn't I? Yeah, okay, I read it. Thanks. Sorry if I missed it before. Sorry, because sometimes everything gets. What happens is as I'm answering it, stuff gets pushed up, and I have to like scroll back up to see it. That's why. If I ever miss anything, please tell me. I apologize. How much time we got left? Oh my God, we have only 15 minutes left. What is going on today? What is going on? Things flew today, man. Let me tell you, did I get everything done that I wanted to get done? I hope I did. I hope I did. I have stuff. I'm going to show you guys other stuff next week. I have a lot of other cool stuff I want to show you guys next week. Aaron Archer made me go like, ooh, I want to pull some stuff out from the archive and show you guys. Let me just read here. Yeah, seen pictures of it. Yeah, there's cool pictures of the Godmars retool. David Cabal, love working out to Mighty Orbot's theme song. Go, Mighty Orbots. They're coming together to fight for what's right everywhere. Mighty Orbots, defending the world from the shadow of evil and doom. Orbots, champions of justice and truth. Oh no. Anyway, I'm not going to do the rest. I'm not going to force you guys to hear my terrible singing. Sarah says bingo comics count like bingo comics. Oh, I think you mean bongo. Bongo, I have a lot of bongo comics because of Radioactive Man and Bartman. If you mean bingo, I'm unfamiliar with bingo comics, but bongo, very familiar with them. Love bongo comics. Even before bongo had the license to the Simpsons comics, there was Simpsons Illustrated, which was an independent company that was doing the Simpsons comics, and I bought those too. Those were awesome. I was a big who wasn't a Simpsons kid back in the 90s? Come on. Anyone was. Although shout out to my grade school friend Timothy and what was his brother's name? It was Timothy. Chris was his brother. Timothy and Chris. Their parents didn't let them watch The Simpsons, and I felt for them so much. Felt for them so much. It was amazing. We would go to their house. They would bring us to the video store to rent anything. They were allowed to rent whatever they want. And they'd rent like horror movies. They'd rent ninja stuff, which had some gore in it. We'd rent all kinds of movies. Can't watch The Simpsons, though. Okay, sure. Simpsons was tame compared to like Ninja Revenge, and a guy gets like a ninja star in his eyeball, you know? Anyways, parents could be weird sometimes. Um, what is it? Saul is now a lawyer and sells drop phones. Different Saul. But you know what though? To be fair, the Saul who owned that comic store, not comic store, that bodega, he was a little shady. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. How's my phone ringing? Who's texting me right now? Oh man, I got so many text messages. I'll answer them later. Jeez. Every time I'm streaming, my phone's always bzz, bzz, bzz. That's why I put it on silent. Can't be bothered. Michael Koo with Voltage V live action movie. Is Hasbro interested in doing anything with Voltage V? I'm pretty sure Bandai is tying up all of that. I'm pretty sure Bandai is going like, let's try to make sure that we get something. And granted, Bandai doesn't have a presence in America anymore, but I'm pretty sure they're probably talking to Bluefin, which they do a lot of their stuff with, to probably bring some stuff over and import it. So if anything, maybe Bluefin will be the ones who you'll see Voltage V stuff in like GameStop through Bluefin. Watch. That's probably what's going to happen. That's Michael Koo. Sorry if I didn't read your name, Michael. Michael Koo. Um, Paul with the $5 super chat. What is your favorite comic book covers? I love Uncanny X-Men Brood War. That's a fantastic one. That's was that Silvestri or was that Jim Lee? The Brood War covers. That's probably Silvestri. Mine, oh my goodness. Another put me on the spot. I wear a t-shirt that's Jim Lee. I want to say it's X-Men number 15, original X-Men. Love that. Jim Lee era X-Men stuff. I just have a boner for. Love that stuff. Silvestri stuff with Wolverine. Um, I love anything John Barnes. Like it's like when I go to like the t-shirt section of like a Walmart, right? And I see like X-Men shirts, I'll be like, and then you see an X-Men shirt that uses old John Barnard, and you're just like, oh my god. Oh my god, that's like you can't leave without it. Or some old Jack Kirby Captain America art. Like there's some really iconic stuff. Let's go with a weird one. Let's go with what's a good comic book cover? Obviously Thanos Quest #1, the glowing hands for the Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Gems. So Thanos Quest #1, iconic cover. I'm surprised not many people parody that one. Let's go with what's another good one? I don't want to go with the obvious stuff like Death of Supergirl from Crisis. Everyone parodies that, or the first issue of X-Men with Jack Kirby. Everyone parodies that. Let's go with. I want to go with something cool. Let's go with what's a good cover? Something weird. Super Pro #1, the NFL superhero through Marvel. That one's been parodied sometimes because it's so wacky. Oh, you're putting me on the spot. These are things I want. I want to go into my comic book room. I wish I could take you guys there. I want to take you guys there one time. We're gonna do an entire podcast from the comic book room one day. I hope that the Wi-Fi connection will work because I remember one time I went in there and it kind of cut a little bit because it's a big house. So like sometimes the Wi-Fi doesn't reach. Oh, that's a tough one. Oh my God, you're putting me. Okay, so definitely the X-Men. I think it's X-Men number 15. It's the one that says "Guess who's back," and it's obviously Magneto that's back. I love that issue. That's a really good one. That cover. That's not. I have like I have a shirt of that because I love it so much. Um, what's another good one? I like trying to think of independent books. There's a few good ones too, because some of those Speed Racer books I really like the covers. Racer X, issue #1. That's a beautiful cover. Forget who the artist was on that one for the Racer X Now comic books. Now comics books. Um, Man, you're putting me on the spot. I don't know. I'd have to go through my long boxes. Let's just go through some iconic Wolverine ones. First issue of Wolverine, limited series. Chris Claremont, Frank Miller, the unmasked, come and get it face. Wolverine #1, ongoing, where he's on top of all the ninjas in the black uniform patch. That's another awesome one. Wolverine number, I want to say, what's the one that's patch with Grey Hulk? That's issue number 14. Correct me if I'm wrong. Issue number 14. That's another iconic one where he's leaning on Grey Hulk in the suit. So many. I love Wolverine books. I like have almost every issue ever of every Wolverine book from like the 90s. I like went out of my way to just get everything. Um, Iconic, like X-Men covers. Obviously, the Jim Lee X-Men combination, absolutely beautiful. I could go on and on. I don't want to waste too much time on it, but we'll definitely revisit this again because now you're going to make me look at. I'll mention last one, Radioactive Man #1, glow in the dark cover. You put the cover in the light, and then it glows in the dark, and you see Radioactive Man's skeleton. Oh, my battery is dying. Battery is dying on the laptop. Are you serious? Got to plug this in because we're running out of time, anyways. There we go. Where are we at here? I don't want to miss any questions before we call it quits for tonight. Want to get everything here. Vulture's V series coming out. We'll see it in the USA from Ibrahim. Michael Koo is answering Clyde. Twins Corner. Well, David Cabal says Protoman is the pastor of pop culture, just 90s pop culture and 80s. I'm a big 80s, 90s kid, and I had very cool parents and a very great time. And I lived in the best city in the world, Montreal, for culture. I will fight to the end of the day. I love Montreal. I told you, Montreal is New York City. It's the same thing. And it's just the coolest freaking city in the world to live in. And growing up in Montreal and having access to all that French Canadian stuff, which was anime and French comic books and all that stuff, like, getting Dragon Ball as it was new in the 80s and all this anime. And then on the Anglophone side, all the English stuff, Transformers, He-Man, Power Rangers, and all the 80s, all the 90s and everything. And the comic book boom and the arcade boom. What a life. What a life. I'd go back and do it in a heartbeat. I'd do it all over again. Twins Corner with the super chat. You think we'll ever see an update on the X Kaiser toys? We will, actually. They're doing a brand new one from, I forget what the name of the company is, but they are working on new X Kaiser toys, starting with X Kaiser. There will be new X Kaiser stuff. They did the Masterpiece one through Takara. It did not sell well at all. That was the MPB line, the Masterpiece Brave. They did X Kaiser and Dragon Kaiser. It sold extremely poorly and they didn't do anything again. But now there's going to be other companies that are picking up the X Kaiser brand because that's what's the company that owns it? I think it's Toa, not Toa. What's the company that does the Gundam stuff? Sunrise. Sunrise owns the rights to it, so they're doing it through some company. So we'll see that at some point. We will see at some point in the future. Trust me, twins. There's going to be more X Kaiser stuff. A lot of Brave. David Paul, right? Just Ritter, haha. Just love hanging out on Saturday nights, reminding me of my childhood days. Hey, man, I could do this forever. That's why we have to do. We're going to be doing live streams playing video games in the future. And it's going to be so hyped to do that. I'm going to love doing that. We could play old Nintendo games, take super chats from people, just talk. I want to do more different stuff in the future with you guys. We're still going to talk Transformers, but then in the second half, we're going to do like just hanging out and just playing games and stuff. If you people want that, if you people would be down for that, let me know, Michael Koo, Warrior needs food badly, low power. Yeah, the battery is dying on the old laptop here. David Cabal, never don't forget the early 2000s. Early 2000s had some good stuff too. Early 2000s for me was a lot more getting my feet wet with the internet. I had the internet since 1995, but the early 2000s was when the internet really started to like get some momentum because then you had direct messaging, you had ICQ, you had MSN. So it was a lot easier to communicate with people outside of just, MIRC, which was a chat room or message boards. So you were able to like come home, boom, you could have a whole bunch of messages waiting for you, could communicate with people quickly. The very first forms of social media, like Asian Avenue and later MySpace, started to show up. Asian Avenue was actually the very first social media, not social media, but like I guess social platform, you could call it. Abraham, there is a Brave model kits currently being released. Yeah, very nice Brave model kits, especially. We got 2 minutes left, guys. Get those super chats in now. So Michael Koo, Protoman, extend your Wi-Fi with the Google Mesh Wi-Fi system. The problem is so they installed my Wi-Fi in my living room, and for once I was testing it, I took my iPad into the game room, and if I go all the way in the corner of my game room, which is a pretty decent sized room, and I went to like the corner of the room, all of a sudden the connection got lost. So I'm thinking, you know what? Mind you, when I did that, that was before I got the new 5 network, so maybe it's better now. Maybe I'll take it back. Maybe it's actually pretty decent now. But it is something we're gonna do in the future for sure. For sure, guys. We're gonna do a lot of cool stuff, like not just the Transformer room. We're gonna do the video game room. We're gonna do the comic book room. A lot of cool stuff that we could show off and everything. And Commander Gemma, I will answer your non-super chat question because no one else asked it, but why not? And it's what's for dinner tonight? So I got barbecue chicken and I bought a poutine kit, which is you get the fries, the cheese curds, and the sauce on the side. And I am going to have a poutine with barbecue chicken. It's half of it is healthy because it's It's chicken, clean protein, and then poutine, the most unhealthy thing a Canadian could ever make. But I'm gonna have that together tonight, and just talking about it is making me salivate right now. But that's what I'm gonna be having tonight, with an orange juice on the side, because if you're gonna drink something, drink orange juice. Don't drink soda or beer or booze. You could have water, obviously. That's my go-to also, but with an orange juice on the side. That's going to be my dinner tonight. Delicious poutine. Nothing more Quebecois or Canadian than having a poutine. Someone beat me to it. Yeah, JR Mina. I thought you were going to ask me, brother. Thought you were going to ask me. But yeah, that's it more or less tonight, guys. So I just want to again give a shout out. Thank you to Symbiote Studios, who sponsor all our videos. Hasbro Pulse, who are always in my back corner, and we're going to be doing some business in the very near future. So stay tuned for that. And the Seats, who provided the chair and the coolness. There we go. It's kind of showing through now. Look at my hand disappears because of the light. Um, the coolness that is the chair for the podcast, so I don't break my spinal cord being a tall, mofo. And of course, Aaron Archer, all the people in Hasbro that are in the chat today hanging out. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all my YouTube members, the green names that you saw today, chatting it up. All my Patreon members that are also present today. Everyone who came by, thank you so much for all the love and support that you do for the pod. Everything that we do to stay number one in the world. Again, if you want to continue supporting the podcast, we have Patreon down there. The link is not down there right now, but it will be in the replays. The Patreon link is in all the other videos. If you want to join the Patreon, hit that Patreon button. Come join us and help support the podcast. If Patreon is not your thing, we have the join button down there for YouTube membership, and then you'll be one of the green names. There's different benefits depending on where you go. All of that information is available to you on those different platforms. So be sure to check those out too. Thank you for coming by, everyone. Thank you, Aaron Archer, and everyone else who came by. Go check out Aaron's live stream segment afterwards if you want to continue listening to some great Transformer content. He showed some really cool stuff on his channel. It's Archer Monster. Assuming not Archer, it's the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Now I'm making mistakes. Toy Armada with Aaron Archer on YouTube. Just throw that in your Google machine. It'll pop up and you could join that. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe that video too. Thank you everyone for coming. And like I always say, this is my outro I do every time. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your loved ones, and take care of your friends. But don't forget, the world is not what you think like the internet says it is. It's an amazing world out there with a lot of amazing people. Don't believe the hate and don't believe the hype. It's a great place. Go out there, go for a walk, enjoy yourself, and have a good time. And just go for a walk. It's just good for you. And thanks everyone who came by. I'm out of here. I'm going to go eat and hang out, play some video games, and enjoy my Sunday because that's always my day off. I got a bunch of text messages waiting for me, so I got to take care of that too. Take care of yourself. And like I always say, roll out. And I love you guys. And I got to click off. Take care.